Hey guys, this is going to be a chalk talk on the parts of the boat, and although we're going to be focusing on FJs, most of these parts can be found on any sailboat. So let's start with the big white body of the boat. This is what we call the hull. Sticking out from the bottom of your boat is the centerboard. And the centerboard is what makes your boat go in a straight line, and it's also what we use to right your boat if you capsize. On the back of the boat is the rudder, which we use to steer. Connected to the rudder is the tiller. And connected to the tiller is the tiller extension. So here the tiller extension controls the tiller, which controls the rudder, which drives the boat. Next we have the big metal rod that goes into the sky. That's called the mast. Connected to the mast is another big metal rod that we call the boom. Next we have the two sails on the boat. The big one here is called the mainsail, sometimes just called the main. And the little one is called the jib. One of the main differences between the mainsail and the jib is that the mainsail has these fiberglass rods in it called battens, and the battens help the mainsail keep its shape. So now we're going to talk about some of the lines in the boat and what they control. The first one we're going to talk about is the main halyard. The main halyard ties to the top of the mainsail and goes up through a pulley at the top of the mast and then comes down to the base of the mast where it's tied off. And so the main halyard is used to pull the mainsail up. So just like we need a line to pull up the main, we also need a line to pull up the jib, and that's called the jib halyard. The jib halyard connects to the top of the jib, goes to a pulley on the mast, and then comes all the way down the mast where it's tied off, and that is what's used to pull up the jib. So we have a main halyard and a jib halyard, and then we also have a main sheet and a jib sheet. The main sheet's right here in the middle of the boat, and it's used to control how far out the boom can go. The jib sheets are attached to the clew of the jib and come back to a pulley inside the boat. There are actually two jib sheets, and one is going to go on each side of the mast. Next, we're going to talk about some of our sail control lines. The boom vang is the line here that makes a V with the mast and controls how far up the boom can travel. We also have the Cunningham that goes through a hole in the sail and pulls the mainsail down along the mast. We also have the outhaul that goes to the clew of the sail, out to a pulley, and then up to a cleat on the side of the boom. A couple more things we want to mention about the sails is that the back edge of the main and the back edge of the jib is called the leech, and the front edge of both sails is called the luff. Right, and finally, there's just a couple more odds and ends that we want to cover about some different boat parts. So the bow of the boat here, the front of the boat here is called the bow, and the back of the boat is called the stern, and then the right side of the boat is called our starboard side, and then the left side, even though you can't see it, is called the port side. We also have a couple funny names referring to different areas of the sail. So the bottom part of the sail here is called the foot, and the top of the sail, you might be able to guess, called the head. Right? And so the main has a head and a foot, and the jib also has a head and a foot. And finally, we have just a little bit of terminology that'll help you get more familiar with the boat. So when someone's talking about a block, they're talking about a pulley. Also, when we're talking about sheets or halyards, those are going to be ropes. I know this is a lot of information and a lot of new terms for some of you, but the more time you spend in the boat and the more questions you ask, the faster you're going to become familiar with these terms. As always, please ask questions if you have them, and we'll see you at practice.